Welcome, Bernando.
Thank you very much, sir.
Good to see you as always. I think it's fair to say, Bernando, that when people find out your age, they're always extremely surprised.
That's true. That's really true.
In which year were you born, Bernando?
August 17th, 1901 in Vitória, Brazil.
1901.
That's right.
That means that you are now 109 years old. On your next birthday, it'll be 110.
The 17th of August coming up.
Well, I went to your 107th birthday party. I went to your 108th birthday party.
Yes.
And your 109th birthday party.
You sure did. That's
and
true.
I must say, these are big events, folks, because there's a lot of media coverage, of course. So a lot of the local TV stations come along. It's a wildly exciting thing.
4 stations I was on that particular night interviewing me.
Right.
Continuously.
But what excites me even more than your absolute age, Bernando, is, a number of people more nowadays reach a ripe old age, but few reach this age while still being so incredibly alert.
Well, frankly, I think that's the starting of the way I was brought up. My father was a doctor and also an herbologist, and he taught me the way to live, how to eat, how to rest, how to take care of my body, from my feet to the top of my head. And the beautiful part about it, that God looked upon me and let me go in the right track. I didn't vary, not one. Until today, I still bathe my feet at night, because he used to say they're tied up all day long in socks and shoes. They don't get any air. And first thing you know, he said they start to get dead skin there, and it accumulates. He said, you come home at night while you're studying your lessons, because there was no TV or radio at that time, put your foot in a tub of water with some Castile soap and let it soak. And when you are finished, the housekeeper will dry them off, and before you go to bed, she will anoint them with olive oil. And today I still do the same thing, and my feet is as soft as the average person's face, a 20-year-old face. And you can see my face. I have no wrinkles nowhere.
It's astounding. I mean, I think that's the first thing girls ask is, what on earth do you do with your skin?
They do that. And I just tell them in speeches that I make, you stop all the sweet stuff that's on TV with alcohol in it. Use plain olive oil.
Right.
Bathe your face when you go to bed at night, and put a hot towel around, open up the pores, and put it. A lot of times people think it's greasy, but it is not greasy. You rub it, it goes right in.
Oh, within 15 minutes, it's completely absorbed.
Well, you see, all through the Bible, it mentions anointing with oil. And in my travels going from Greece to Egypt, as I'm going along, I saw men out there with guns, and I said to the fellows, what are these people out there with guns for? He says, they're guarding the olive trees. I said, olive trees? He said, yes. He said, you read the Bible all the time. You should know how sacred the olive trees are. The olive oil is. I said, no, I read it, but I didn't give it much thought, but now I will. And I really got carried away with what olive oil could do for you, inside and out, what garlic could do for you, what cocoa could do for you, and barley. So I went back to New York, and I went to the 42nd Street Library, and I stayed there all day long, finding out where, when it was used, and all long before Christ. Everything that I mentioned was 4,000 or 5,000 years before Christ. So if it was good enough then, and we didn't have all these chemicals, and people were living long lives and so on, and my daddy told me that you'll live a nice, smooth life. He said, eat right, get your rest, you'll live a long, healthy life.
Well, it's turned out to be very true in your case.
Everything he said, I did, and it worked until today.
Wow.
I still get up in the morning and have my walk, come back and have my cinnamon tea, and some whole wheat toast with peanut butter and honey, and my tea. And then I just relax for a while, and I said, well, I think I'll have my morning reading, so I'll go and pick out some book about health and read. I've been doing that for years. When I was sailing, I used to read the Bible a lot. They even called me Rev. Ask Rev, he can tell you about this. And they would all be sick and tired and hungry, and vomiting all over themselves or staying up half of the night, drinking whiskey and hanging out with the girls. And I didn't do that. That was not for me.
Which part didn't you do? The drinking whiskey bit or the hanging out with the girls bit?
Well, I didn't do either one.
Right.
I didn't do either one. And if I did, Daddy said, you're a young man, you're naturally going to get into contact with young girls. He said, but everything in moderation, no matter what it is. Moderation. He said, you can have a glass of wine once in a while, but I wouldn't advise you to go to a bar to do it. If you want to have a glass of wine, buy your bottle and have it in your room. And you feel like you want to have a drink, fine. If anybody come in, you want to offer them one, fine. But don't hang out, standing on your feet all day because you've been working all day. So he told me how to live, and I followed it right up till now. I still wash my feet, and I do. Wash my feet and anoint them with olive oil.
Now, folks, you can't spend any time with Bernando without coming to the conclusion that he's a goldmine of information. You can tell he's an avid reader. We both are. We have a passion for reading by the books he's got in the bookcase that surrounds him in his house.
That's right.
I can't deny that it is a real thrill and a pleasure every time I come here to spend time with you, or we might go for lunch together or something, because I always get these pearls of wisdom, and I feel as though I'm the richer for having spent an hour or two with you every time we meet.
Well, it's wonderful. I enjoy you because you have traveled a lot, and we have a lot in common. Like you've been to Greece, I've been to Greece. You've been to Egypt and into the pyramids, and I've been there. So our conversation and hanging out together is beautiful. Really, well, I enjoy it.
On that note, it's true, we've both been to Egypt. About 2 months ago, I think it was, we were discussing things, and what came up was our desire for travel, and you said you still wanted to go back to Egypt. And I said, then let's do it. So let's go to Egypt together, is what I said. And within a week of that happening, all the unrest broke out in Egypt. Remember, it was the anti-Mubarak protests.
Yes.
And then we were saying, well, we better put the idea of this trip on ice for now because we don't want to go the way it is now. I think it's settled down a bit. I think it's probably reasonably safe to go. But who else do you know who's reached the age of 109 who still talks about going places?
See, I got it figured this way. It's nice to live, to be old, but when you get old and you're shaking and you can't do anything, you can't shave, you get ready to bathe, somebody's got to bathe it. But I am active. I do everything now that I did when I was 40. It's like drinking pure water out of the rocks, like they do in the Himalayan mountains. And they live to be 110, 120, and looking good.
Right.
Because water, remember, water is 80% of the body.
Right.
And if you don't keep the brain lubricated and your mind lubricated, I even do crossword puzzles continuously to keep my brain in function. If you stop, everything stops.
Right. If you don't use it, you lose it.
That's exactly right.
All right.
So that's why I get up in the morning at 4:30, 5 o'clock and walk. I try to walk in the grass because we came from the earth, and I want my feet to be as near to the earth.
To feel it again, yes.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it, and it's good for me. It's the cheapest exercise you can have, and it's the best.
Right.
One of the best is the walking. Get up in the morning, get the fresh air in your lungs. When I was sailing, I used to get up early, and the guys would say, "What are you doing up so early? The kitchen not open yet." I would walk up and down on the deck and inhale that nice salt air. And I just used to commune with nature, looking at the clouds, and sometimes even the sun rising. Beautiful. But I've had a wonderful life, and up to this age, I have very few people I bet that you have spoken with that have been to the 5 continents.
Oh, there are very few indeed.
Yeah,
very few.
And got paid for it.
Right. Right.
And was healthy enough to be healthy. I've never been sick a day in my life.
No, that is inspirational too.
And I lived in New York City for 90 years.
Well, that's tough to stay healthy in New York City.
Definitely. That's why I use it, because that's one of the greatest cities in the world.
Right.
And everybody is there. It's an island, East River over here, and East River over here, and Hudson River over here, and this island. That's the Manhattan.
Right. I think, folks, you get the sense that spending time with Bernando is just invigorating. It's invigorating for the mind. It's just it's this we're never stuck for words. Let me put it that way. It's always an interesting conversation.
Yes, we could talk. We could sit here and talk. If I started telling you my life, you would say, "My goodness, God put you here for a purpose."
Well,
Oh, I don't even want to go into it because it's too far. I sailed the seas for years, and I was out there when the U-boats were blowing up the ships.
right.
I missed 5 ships that was blown up.
Just hearing that is
5.
unbelievable.
5 I missed. I was in Asbury Park. I got back too late. I was up this place. I got back too late to sign on. All right, you can sign on tomorrow. Blah blah blah. That's what I would do.
And each of those 5 was gone. Well, then it's
blown
almost
to
a
bits.
miracle that you're here.
And the one that I told you about on the bus, when the bus driver, I'm running to get it because the last bus going to the fort. I had been into town to get something for the boys. And as I ran to get the bus, an old lady got off, and this is in Bristol, and she got off. The fire, what do you call them? The alarms, like the airplanes were coming, and there was a lot of noise. Everybody was running to get in
Shelter and that.
get in the shelter. And he slammed the door in my face and took off.
Aye.
Well, this old lady got off and she said to me, "Come on, son, this is the last bus to the fort, so you may as well come up and bunk with me." She was an old lady, and I said to myself, well, that's better than having to go to a hotel. So I went with her. When I got to the place, it was just a little hut, had a bed and a chair, and she said, "Oh God, could I stand a drink now?" So I said, "Maybe I can help you there," because I had gone in town to get a couple of bottles of whiskey for my boys, because the town was, what do you call it, dry. They didn't allow the bars to be open at the time. Anyway. Right. But this was a restaurant to which I knew the maitre d', and I went and I got these 2 bottles of whiskey, and so I said to the old lady, "Well, if you could stand a drink," I said, "maybe I can help." She says, "You have something?" I said, "Yeah, a little bit," and I opened the bottle, and she had the little tumble glass that you used to serve by with jelly in them. Mm-hmm. Well, she had a glass like that. So I opened the bottle, and I said, "Tell me when." She let it almost run over before she said when, and she drank it, and said, "Oh God!" And then she fell across the bed. I said, "Oh my God, this woman's going to have a heart attack, and they're going to think that I came and hit a robber." Which I was skeptical of that, you know. So suppose she had a heart attack.
Right, that wouldn't have looked good.
It wouldn't look good at all. But anyway, and she said, "You want to lay across the bed?" It's all right. I said, "No, I'll sit right here in the chair." And so, because I'm accustomed to going to bed early, and this was around 11:30, and I'm sitting up there in the chair, and she's laying across the bed. In 3 minutes, she was snoring, and I'm sitting there. And evidently, I must have dozed off. When I woke up, I heard action in the street, you know, like horses were walking or cars would run up and down. So I got up and walked to the door and looked out, and I saw a fellow with a motorcycle that had a little cart on the side. So I beckoned to him to come to me. And before he got to my room, I had a pocket and put out a $5 bill. And he came over. I said, "How much you charge me to run me out to the fort?" So he says, £1. So I said, "Okay." Then I said and I went to thank her for letting me stay for the night. Could I do something for you? I said, "Have you got any food in?" She said, "Not much." I said, "Well, come on." I said, "How much would you charge me to take her out and bring her back?" He said, "Well, I'm coming back anyway." He says, "I'll take £1 to take her out." I said, "Here's another $5. She had a little sidecar, so she got in the sidecar, and I sat on the back holding on to him. And we got out there to the fort, and as we pulled up in front of the gate, the guys were all hanging out of the ship looking. They said, "Sue, that's you?" I said, "Of course it's me." "My God," he said, "they're out there looking for your body." I said, "Well, you out where looking for my body?" He said, "The last bus came in, a bomb hit it, and blew it to bits. His body's all over."
Aye.
I said, "I've been telling you all the time, I'm God's child. Nothing going to happen to me."
Wow.
I said, "I got your stuff here." I said, "This little lady was kind enough to let me stay in her place, and I got the motorcycle, and here you are." I gave him the 2 bottles of whiskey. And he said, "Man, they're out there looking for your body." I said, "Let them look. I'm here, healthy with you." When we're going back, that what was it? Oh, I'm confused with the times. Another ship. Another time I was in. Oh, I know where it was. This guy took me back, and he put me back right where I was when he picked me up.
Right.
So now I got to walk over to the club, and as I started to get over there, the guys, some of the waiters and what was outside, and they saw me. They ran over. Oh my God, you missed that bus, huh? I said, yeah, I'm here. He said, well, you're a seaman. Like, we used to have all our credentials hanging on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, did you hear about that ship that came in and anchored out? They were quarantined. I said, yeah, I know, because I got off it. He said, oh, man, the U-boats come in there last night, they blew it to bits. They're out there now digging bodies.
Unbelievable.
Well, I could sit here all day and tell you stories.
I know. We don't have enough. Well, we don't have tape. It's tapeless, but we don't have enough time left on the camera. But I think we should do this more.
All right. Whenever you
I want to thank you again.